Hey everyone. So I'm excited to have somebody from the Lumo product team over here to help us talk about a new product that they've been released recently into the custom visuals marketplace. Now, for those of you who've watched this channel before, you might have seen some of the other videos that I've done with Gopal and others on the various products like the Analytics Plus visual, the Inforiver Matrix and Enterprise Writeback. And now they have a new filter visual that's essentially like a Swiss Army knife all-in-one visual that they built for the Power BI platform. So I'm excited to be able to showcase this today and get a walkthrough of it. So Prachi, thank you so much for coming on. And I'd love to hand it off to you to give yourself a bit of an introduction and talk about what we'll be looking at today with this new custom visual.
Hari, thank you for having me. So quick introduction, I am Prachi Mishra and I am working with Nimel as a senior product manager. Today, essentially, our focus discussion will be about Inforiver Super Filter. That is one of the products I've been looking into, and I'm really excited to talk about it.
Yeah, it's from what I've seen and played around with so far, it's quite literally a Swiss Army knife of like it does everything that anybody can think of for the most part for being able to filter, slice, dice, and interact with their data in any capacity in a lot more ways than the native filters certainly can accommodate. So it's a welcome new visual to the marketplace for sure. If you'd like, we can flip over to the screen and get started from there.
Sure.
Excellent. Okay.
So before I deep dive into the use cases that we have on the screen, a couple of pointers about this visual. Number one, all of this is free forever and is available on Microsoft AppSource as a certified visual. We started working on this visual, on this filter capabilities. As a token of appreciation to the Power BI community, we've had immense support from the community for our rest of the products, and this is our contribution to the community.
Awesome to hear.
We'll deep dive now. So these are a few use cases that you can see on the screen that this visual has to offer. The essential of this filter is it's an ultimate all-in-one filter. The idea was that today, for filtering capabilities that go beyond the native filters, we have to hunt onto the marketplace for various use cases, be it mass filtering, be it hierarchy filter, be it date picker. And a lot of these use cases are not available free of cost or could not be certified. It involves a lot of effort to look into various vendors, what kind of support will be available, what are the licensing terms. We have tried to simplify all of that. So you get all the filtering capabilities in one visual. And as I mentioned, it's free of cost, free forever, and it is Microsoft certified. So let's start with the various use cases. We would begin with date filtering. So with date filtering, we've had use cases in our dashboarding that talks about the use of date picker use case. So the ability for the end users to be able to see a calendar view with additional information, say the working days, non-working days, invalid dates, or even with certain KPIs and metrics. That is a view that we are going to make possible with a date picker that we'll see right now. In addition to that, as I mentioned, when you add metrics and KPIs into the date view, it gives additional context to understand what you're really looking for to filter. In general, end users may come up to the dashboard and would be interested in specific date periods to look into. But a lot of times the decision of selecting the date period depends on a variety of factors, could be some specific metrics. So with a heat map view, with certain KPIs and variance views, it becomes easier for the end user to make a decision about the date period that one would be interested to look into. Next, we have various modes supported in our date period selector. We have the date slider, we have relative date, and we have various views ranging from here. That includes even the quarter selections, month, week, and day as well. So day mode talks about the day level information that we can show into the date filter. Day is specifically for date time related information. So let's say we have various events occurring in the day. That's one use case for it. So that's about date filtering that we'll look into. Next, when it comes to categorical information, when we have dimensions involved. In those cases, we have various use cases. I'm most excited to talk about the filter panel. because with Super Filter, a second achievement that we have tried to do is to simplify use cases that we have in Power BI today. Today, building a filter panel involves creation of bookmarks, multiple slicer visuals, and to replicate that effort across the pages. It not only makes the functioning bulkier, but there's also significant development effort involved. And if we happen to change one of the filter or the dimensions, again, the effort is across the pages. So with filter panel, we have tried to reduce that effort. With one single visual, you plug in all the dimensions and the panel is ready. Of course, with more formatting options, you can format and customize the look and feel of it. Other than that, as it's an all-in-one filter, we have mass filtering capabilities. We also have focused search, text search, where you will be able to type in any text information, and a partial text search, even wildcard text search is supported. We have also covered play access. We will be talking in detail about presets, preset selections, which can be dynamic in case of date. We also have it for date, and that's another exciting feature that we'll talk about. We also have text area filter that enables us to provide values across dimensions with and or operators. And other than this, of course, checklist slicer is something that we offer along with image support as well. Another use case for dimensions is the hierarchy filter. And one new use case that we are bringing is the tree map filter. So today we have a specific tree map view that we see in the form of heat map in Power BI in native visuals. With tree map filter, we have tried to bring in the hierarchical view in the tree map along with the capability to select using lasso effect. So that's
I'd be interested to see the tree map one for sure. I'm trying to mentally visualize in that one, so that'll be an interesting one to see.
Absolutely. And when it comes to numeric information, be it in the form of measures, we are providing a method to do measure filtering across a report page. As of today, measure filtering can be done at visual level, but we are providing a way to do measure filtering across the report page as well. And if you have a numeric column that you would like to just put in a slider view, that is as well available. Another new use case is alphanumeric. So, imagine having a production or supply chain use case where you would like to filter out the products or the SKUs that were developed, let's say, in the initial stages. The codes ranged between 100 to 200, and that's what you would like to filter. Today, to do that is tedious. You will need to select the textual values manually, or you will probably go for mass filter. But for that as well, you'll have to select it from somewhere. With alphanumeric, we resolve that for you with the help of a range slider.
Nice. Okay.
So let's deep dive and look into the views now.
Excellent.
So I have a few examples created in the interest of time, and we'll look into it. So first, we're looking into the date period view. And as you can see on the screen, this is the month view. We have the date calendar view available. We have the KPIs that are available. We have variance information also that's available. We have kind of shown the week of days in a different view. If I navigate to a different year, you can see these dates are invalid. We don't have data right now for this date range, which is being shown as invalid dates. And we can select multiple date ranges. So this is one date range that has already been selected, and we can add more date ranges as well. What you see on the top of the screen is a calendar control section, which can be made available to report end users. And using the calendar controls, one can navigate through various granularities, let's say year, quarters, month. And as you can see in the year view, again, we have a variance view available. So that's with respect to the calendar view. And in here, another interesting part is the multi-year concept. So when we enable this, let's say I am interested looking into the January sales across various years. I don't have to select January in 2023, in 2024, in 2025. Yeah.
So that would be comparing 2024 and 2025 of only January and February. So
January and
it's
February.
January of those 2 years and February of those 2 years.
That's right. And on the hovering of the footer, you can see which 4 months have been selected as well.
Okay, very nice. And the one thing I would assume with some of those to be careful at, and similar to like the little error that you got on a few of the mini cards, is the when selecting particular periods across multiple years that aren't continuous or contiguous. Meaning like if you're basically putting in gaps in between them, just be careful of any time intelligence functions, because
Right.
that will then it's like it expects a continuous date range, that whatever that DAX error is for those. So just be cognizant of that. So for basic measures like just sum of sales or anything like that works quite a bit. If you have a year over year or anything else, things to be conscious of.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, I really like the view of it, and also just having a calendar picker that can stay on the page rather than having to use the pop-up one is quite nice. With the addition of being able to have essentially a card on each of the calendar dates that then gives you the any kind of an numeric data point that you would want to have, such as sales or order amounts or any kind of record counts or something like that.
Right. Any standard matrix that we would like to analyze in the form of trends as well. This kind of a selection view is very helpful.
Exactly.
Right. We'll jump to the heat map view. So when we have a KPI or a metric that we would like to analyze with a visual experience onto the calendar view, we can configure heat maps. And we go to the date filter, and we have a section for heat map where we can provide a range of 4 colors with which the KPI values will be ranging out, as you can see. So any standout colors make it easier for us to understand there have been any highs or there have been any lows on any specific dates, which helps us to easily analyze our data further in the dashboard. So that's about heat map. I'll quickly jump to the next view. Next, we have the annual calendar. One use case with which we have seen that there has been a lot of modeling effort, creating multiple visuals for that single view. Let's say, today we try to recreate this with multiple matrix visuals on the screen with conditional formatting. So we are, again, saving that effort, making the reports less complex with just one visual on the screen, with just the date, just the value, and next we set up, the heat map for it, and we disable the dates. So we have the variance, we have the heat map effect, all of that for all 12 months of a year available on the screen in a single consolidated view that can be further used for even filtering out the data.
And even some of the little flag markers that you could have on the calendar spots where at a very small view, all that conditional formatting of color, but then basically the I'm sure there's a particular name for those, but it's like the dog-eared little page flaps you can have in the corner.
Right, these indicate the negative variances in this dashboard.
Exactly. But yeah, it's very nice at a summary level without even showing the numbers to be able to quickly get an at-a-glance view of your data and things that you might want to review.
Absolutely, that's and the use case we have tried to cover with this. Next, we take a quick peek into the day calendar view. So here, as you can see, within a day, when we have multiple, let's say, events that are being captured, that are being held, let's say, those can be shown in the day view, and the selections can be done on a day level basis here. So that's about the day view. It's a simple view, but that showcases additional information without having to plug and play another visual to it. So again, you have additional information to select the day that you would like to filter upon. So one thing we have realized in our storytelling experiences is we need to have some information to be able to filter out in often data analytics
Yeah.
use cases. So with additional KPIs, with additional information, the decision making to select the right date periods or the right dates becomes easier. And then there is deeper analysis that leads you to conclusions and hence lets you take better actions to, let's say, strategize the KPIs better for the future.
A quick question: Can the does for this one, does the date time column have to be a single column, or can you use a hierarchical date column and time column from the factor dimension table? Can you use two?
As of now, we would need a single column where we have the date and the time available in the single value. That is
Okay.
essentially needed because it needs to be formatted as date time for the visual to be able to allow the day views. But that's a good feedback. We will look into that too.
Yeah, the big one, just as a brief mention on that, is the a date time column on a large fact table can end up with a very, very high cardinality of unique values. But if you split it, you can drastically reduce the size of the table unloading, because then, like, the number of dates is significantly smaller and the number of unique times separately is smaller. So most of the time I usually end up splitting them into like a column specifically for just date and then a column for hour of day. It is a time dimension. It's formatted as, and the date type is set to time, but they're using two columns that are on the fact table.
That makes sense. We'll take that into account. We'll check on that.
Nice.
All right. Moving ahead, we have the date slider view. We have added some additional, again, contexts for easier views in the date slider as well. We have added a scale. Again, it's optional. Only if you want, you can enable it. So we have a scale here. We have an interval option as well. So for specific duration related analysis, we want it to be simpler for the report end users. And what we've done is you define how many difference of days would you like to see in the duration. And when we move over the slider, as you can see, the interval remains constant. So for specific duration analysis, the interval option comes in as handy. So that's one feature. And other than this, one of the very useful features of this filter visual are the presets that we can see over here. So we have the previous year, YTD, last 3 months, 7 days. These are just a few that you can configure. So when I'm going to select last 7 days, and that's what was being shown when we came onto this page. It had dynamically selected the last 7 days when we came to the page. So this way, what happens is whenever your report end users come to the page, there is a relative filtering that has happened, which is interactive, which can be changed to any other selections as well using the presets. So that comes in as a useful functionality. Once again, presets are available for any continuous range selections in this filter visual, not just in date slider. That's one thing. And I'll take a very quick moment to explain how we can configure presets. So I just went
Nice.
on to the presets section and we can add a preset. And as of now, I'll stick to the date type. I can provide any values. Let's say we can provide last 15 days and I can select the style for the look and feel, whatever I would like. Let's go with this option. I want this icon to stay in the black color. So that configuration is available. I'll stick to the defaults for now. The condition I'm going to select is last. So we can select from a range of options. It can be last, next, this, prior to, half year, YTD, MTD. So we have a wide range of relative date options available to set the presets. So I'm going to stick to last. My period is days that I'm looking into. So we also have options in the periods ranging from the grain of year up to day, can be the calendar year or it can be the relative year. I'm going to stick to days and last. 15 days. And I'm going to click on OK. And we have the last 15 days available on the screen here. That's how we can set various kinds of presets in this visual. So this
Nice.
comes
Just
in
two And just two quick questions in this one. One, does it similar to the native one in Power BI? Does it have the option for an offset or include today or not? So if I wanted a 15-day window, but I want that window to end yesterday, and then basically 15 days back from that stopping at yesterday, would there be a way to tell it to anchor the end date, not to today, but to an offset of a certain number of days backwards?
That is a feature we are working on right now. So we
Okay,
are working on the exclusion of a few dates when we are working with presets and dynamic date ranges. We do
gotcha. Okay.
have a few options available in the format pane in the meantime for the date view where we can have, let's say, if I say past days and I say, let's say, past 7 days.
Oh, you do have an initial start date. Include this, and
We
yep.
have it in the format pane. Yes, we do have it in
Nice.
the
Okay.
format pane. Yeah. So you see this visual that we have created, we've tried to keep it lightweight so that it does not add
Uh-huh.
to a lot of memory into our file sizes as well. So that's the reason we have still provided most of the options in the APS or the format pane, and only the ones that do require a certain amount of interactivity or for us to understand how the UI UX the experience would be on the filter visual. For those we have added the capabilities to configure through the visual. Otherwise, we have stuck to the format pane to keep it lightweight. Next, we have the standard relative date functionality that's available. So we have all the bases covered with the various views that are available. And yeah, that's about relative date. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip this one now. And we'll jump into the dimension-based filtering. So I have a filter panel on this page. The filter panel is hidden. I have not used bookmarks. I have not used a number of slicer visuals. I did not have to group a lot of things. It's just one visual that has done the magic here. And if I click on the pop filter icon, this opens up a pop-up experience for me within the visual that includes a chiclet slicer view with images, that can include radius selections, that can include multi-selections, which can also have a mass filtering experience within it. So we have the bases covered with filter panel experience here. So that's one important feature. Another thing is, when working with multiple dimensions, we are also providing a cascade filter effect. What this essentially does is, when I'm going to select something in the first dimension, the subsequent dimensions are going to be filtered out automatically. So the interaction mechanism that we have when we have multiple filter visuals in the report page, that as well is covered over here. We do not keep this on by default for performance reasons, but as per the use case, cascade filter can be enabled.
Yeah, I really
Yep.
like the small form of that just because it gives so much more room to the page for sure.
Yeah, and today we have to do it with the bookmarks. We have to do it to create these three. I would have to create three filter visuals. For this, I would have to import a chiclet slicer custom visual. For this, I'll have to create a separate native visual filter. For this, a separate native filter. And then we'd probably group
Exactly. It'd be
them
a
for
lot more
easier
work.
right and sure. Yeah. So we're saving all of that. And we have, these little details added here. You can have the icons to make it, more intuitive for the end users to use the filters. And this is just a small view of what can be done in the pop-up or in the filter panel experience. We have just shown for the sake of demo 3 dimensions over here. Of course, you can add more, which is typically the structure that we have in our filter panels. And a couple of more things here. Again, small details that help to make the visual interactive. When we are making selections, you can see a progress bar on the top. So that also adds a little bit of an experience for the end users to understand how many values have they selected out of the entire bunch. As you can see over here, it's easier. Another
Exactly.
interesting, yeah, and yep, that's with respect to the filter panel that I'd like to cover here. Next, we have the text area filter, which helps to work with operators. So we've had use cases in reporting where we would like to show multi-dimension filtering, but with a combination of and or logic as well. So let's say I'm interested in showing categories that have bikes or components, or the color black and blue. So the or combination would not be possible with native filtering as of now. It always works in an and experience when the interactions are on. So here we have tried to cover that use case with the logic of operators of and or with multiple dimensions. So, yeah, that's for the text area filter.
And I think the ability to do a combination of or with and is also very powerful, because that's not something that's been able to have been done easily previously without using custom DAX measures and visual level filters.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Next, we have the hierarchy filter. And as you can see, as I was mentioning, we provide the capability to add a KPI to show a variance. So, again, just looking at the filter, I know the areas where I'd like to focus. And I'd like to filter on those. And the other way that we have the filtering here is with another numeric range available here with a measure filter. So we have measures provided in the other section, and the way measures work in Power BI is it needs a grain, it needs a dimension to actually calculate values. So for measure filtering, we would require at least one category to be available and the measure. But this does cover the use case where we have had the use case. I would like to see the months where sales has been between X and Y, and sales is a measure as of now. So it becomes tedious to work in that use case. So if you provide the months as the category, sales as the measure, you will have a numeric range slider here to be able to select the months with the sales in a specific range. So as you
That's
see,
nice.
the partial selections have been done.
Just as a quick question, can you control the formatting of the tooltip at all?
The tooltips are native, so we can control the experience.
Just thinking of the number of decimal places that were showing, so that was why I was curious.
Right. Okay. Next, we would jump on to mask filter. So yeah, as I said, mask filter is available through the filter view, through the facet view as well. But you can also set it as the default view. So if you would like the filter visual to work just as a mask filter experience, then that as well is available. You can set it as a mask filter right then and there. And again, the use case that mask filter covers is pretty popular. Let's say you have any other CRM tool, an Excel file, a list of values that are coming in through any other data source, and you would like to filter the report based on the list of values. That list could be huge, that list could be small, but selecting every value is again a tedious job. So with mask filter, you can copy the values from the source, paste it directly into the mask filter area, apply, and the values will be filtered out. We support a bunch of standard delimiters. So you can select which delimiter is going to be used by your report end users, and accordingly, the delimiter can be set. The text as well can be changed according to and the use case or how it's preferred with the report end users, the placeholder text. So that's about mask filter.
That's pretty nice. I like the ability to control that because it's different. Like, depending on, I guess, if you're copying like names from an email or anything else from a CSV file, like you're
Right.
gonna you don't have to go in and change those. Just out of curiosity, like would there ever be an option to have something in there where you could set it to auto detect? So if it noticed like 5,000 commas or like anything like that, or is that something that would be like too hard to code? Just out of like a wish list
Yeah.
curiosity.
It's something that we have thought of, but I'll tell you the challenge. Data values on its own would include commas. And that is where the challenge comes in. So let's say,
True.
you have an example right here. The product names include commas.
Okay, that's fair.
And
Yeah, so you can misinterpret the data too easily.
exactly. Yeah.
Fair. Okay. No, that's a good point.
So, yeah, next we have the play axis. Again, a pretty popular requirement where you would like the dashboard to auto move across values. Typically, I think a good use case would be when you have, let's say, about 5 to 10 values in a dimension like here. If you're looking at a dashboard that talks about 5 to 10 years of data and you would like to just see how the trends have changed over the years, this could be good. Not really recommended for a long list of values because it wouldn't be humanly possible to apprehend what is happening across the trends with various values. So yeah, so when I hit play, we see various years going by and the trends changing. We do have options to configure the duration, the speed, whether it should replay. The configurations are available in the format pane. So it has replayed now. I'm going to hit a stop now. Yeah. So
Very cool.
that's
Yeah.
with play access. We do have interesting options in play access with respect to hierarchical values as well. So if you have a hierarchy of values and you would like to navigate to those, we have some pretty interesting options in the format pane. In the interest of time, I'm going to keep it at that. But yeah, it's a good feature to explore out.
Excellent.
Next, we'll talk about focus text slicer. So this is where partial text search, wildcard search comes in very handy. Let's say I am looking at all of the product names that contain the word, let's say, mountain. So just typing in mountain is going to, help me filter out all of the values that contain mountain. Simple. Or I would like to see all of the values that end with L. I'm going to use wildcard search, and I can see all of the values that are ending in L. Now, how to use the wildcard search? End users may have questions. We get that. So we have a little prompt available as an info icon within the visual, and that is going to help anybody who's consuming the report to know what characters or what options have to be used to filter with wildcard search. So, yep, that's
Well,
our focused text slicer.
in general, just yeah, I appreciate the wildcard search option. And so, can you do something where you do a wildcard search that would produce a couple of more than one value in the search result? I just want to see something.
Okay, so
Do a
let's
wildcard
go
search for
with
anything, like look for HL or something like that.
sure, sure. So we can do anything starting with HL. There we go.
And the thing that I like about this that I just want to call out is like there is a search box in the native visuals, but if you search for HL, you'd have to click every checkbox for all the HLs in it. There is no select all. So it is a nice feature that is not available in the native filter visual.
And while we're at that, we also have the search capability in our facet views and drop downs as well. And in those, we do provide the select all option. We know this had been a pain point, and we have that resolved in our drop down views as well.
Excellent.
Next, we'll jump into alphanumeric. Again, one of the interesting use cases that we have resolved. As you can see the SKUs here, we have it in a combination of text and numbers. So typically when it comes to employee IDs, SKUs, codes, it's a combination of text and number in our data. And although the analysis or the numbers are logical, it's let's say in a chronological order or in the order in which employees joined the organization, or the SKUs were created, or product codes in which they were created, it's difficult to still filter out in a range fashion because these are textual information. So with alphanumeric, what we have done is the numeric information that's there in the textual codes can be used to convert it to a range fashion and filter the information in that particular range. So that's
Okay, I
how
like
it.
that. Yeah. Good.
Uh, we have had this use case from our customers directly, and this is essential, especially in supply chain use cases and production use cases. For example, a use case could be, let's say there has been a batch that was not manufactured in the correct way, or that you would like to track, as simple as that. You would like to track a specific batch, and the number ranges between 100 to 200. Today, with the textual information, you would have to select every value individually, 100 values. But with the range, that problem resolves in a pretty smart way.
Exactly.
And if you have a simple numeric column, we've got you covered. The range slider is available for that as well. Next, let's go to tree map filter, because that's one interesting use case. So one thing I'd like to highlight is we have a multi-level hierarchy that can be seen on the screen. So we have the group, we have the country, we have the regions. This is one visualization that helps to see the hierarchical effect. That's one. Second, you will be able to select values in the form of lasso effect. So that helps in the filtering experience to be
That's
intuitive.
cool. I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yep, that's about our tree map filtering. Of course, it comes with the KPI. The sizes are coded as per the values.
And the nice
That's
thing is,
for our tree map.
important to call out on this is a these are sticky filters rather than using a native tree map, which is you click off of it or anything else and it removes the filter, because any visual cross filter isn't a sticky filter. So that is an important difference, because this does look similar in some capacity to the tree map, but this is an actual proper filter, not a visual cross filter for this one.
Right.
Yeah.
I think variance is something that we've covered in our previous views as well. But again, here, as we were discussing, is another view that we have for variance as well. And I would like to add the quarter view as well. That is something that I was keen on covering. So if I select quarter 2, we have April, May, June selected. So that makes our life easier in another way. And as always, our visuals always have support for fiscal year for business use cases like these. So we have the support for fiscal year. So if we happen to change the starting month, the quarters would adjust accordingly. So that's about the variance, about the quarter view, quarter selections in the year view as well. Lastly, I would like to talk about presets. So we have spent significant effort in making presets a functionality that can help resolve a lot of challenges today in making dynamic selections in Power BI. We have ensured that you have all of the options to make the presets intuitive. So what you see over here, these are all presets. So when you configure a lot of presets, you can simply go to a format pane. You can go to the preset bar, click on rotate preset, and you get a view like this. And you can also create groups of presets. So when you right click on any preset that you've created, you can simply create a new group, or you can move it to an already created group as well.
Okay.
So that's our presets. Now, as I was saying, in our presets, you would have seen at an earlier point, we had various types. So as you can see, since we had the date category added into the set data field, we saw the date option, which let us select relative dates, let's say last 15 days, YTD, and so on. When there are categorical information, we have a little different set of options available. We have filter, measure, rank. We can also have themes. That's possible in both the cases, in date and in categorical. So you can see the dark mode option here. So in essence, now presets become like a button. So you can have a dark mode option available with the option of theme in presets. You can have a separator which adds a horizontal line to the view, so you can categorize the presets in different sections as you'd like, or you can simply have a logo. So all of that option is available when it comes to making your presets intuitive. I'd just like to talk about the filter option in detail for a moment. So
Sure.
filter is where you can save the pre-selected configurations. So if you know that I have, let's say, about 50 products in my dashboard, and I know that for most report end users, they are keen on the specific 10 products. And if every user has to select those specific 10 products, those are scattered across, it will be difficult for them to select that. So you can simply select those for once as the developer. You can save it. So we have the option of save filter. You can save it, and then you can expose it in the form of filter, which is going to be the pre-saved selections. So when the end users are going to click on that preset, it's going to select those 10 that you have already selected for them in the saved options.
Can you show just the logo briefly and under the types? I'm curious about that one.
Sure. So, let's say we'll go with the word test. That's to amp up, to explain what the presets are. So
Gotcha.
that
Okay.
gives
So it's
like
just basically a
title.
title.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Nice. Man, yeah,
So
the vast number of options available for this is fairly extensive. It, like, again, a good analogy is it's a Swiss Army knife. It's trying to do a little bit of everything to be like a one-stop shop for basically any filter needs that you might have.
absolutely. And what we have covered today is still, I would say, tip of the iceberg. There are a lot more options available in our format pane based on the view that you have selected. One more thing I'd like to cover is, let's say if I set up a new super filter, you need not worry how you will go about setting a specific view that you would want to have. Let's say if I just add two dimensions, for the sake of the demo, I'm just adding any two. You see a logo over here, that's our quick mode. So when you go on click mode, I'm going to zoom in a bit. When you go to quick mode, it lets you choose what view you would like to see, and it is going to set it for you. So let's say I select the option of hierarchy filter with list. It has done it for me. So you need not worry that for the views to begin with, you will have to hunt and go through various options in the format pane. We have got that covered with our quick mode. So this way, the initial view setup will be done. Of course, for further customizations, you will want to come to the format pane. Let's say you want to configure a little the look and feel to match it up with your reporting requirements. You can come to the format pane. But the setup becomes much easier to start the configuration.
Excellent. Yeah, the
So,
sheer number of possibilities I very much appreciate in this for sure.
and we continue to add. So we would like all the users in the community to try the visual, share our feedback. We are always open to feedback to improve our product, so that would be helpful. And before we wind this up, a little tip from my end. So we have the visual available on Microsoft App Source. So it's certified, it's available for free, so you can immediately go and try it out. We also have our website up and running for the same that keeps posting about any new updates in this visual. We have a bunch of resources with our documentation, webinars, blogs, and our documentations are pretty detailed. So that should help you get through any specific configuration that you're looking for, or if you're looking to explore any options, our documentation as well is available to help you with. Other than this, we are available on the Inforiver community as well, or you can reach out to me.
Excellent. And let me flip back to our section here. There we are. No, I want to thank you for coming on and walking through all of this. I think it is, you did a good job of covering the breadth of everything and going into some of the details with each one of these, but they're, as you've kind of shown, hyper configurable, and basically for every data type option in there, it gives you a plethora of options. But I think the two big ones for me are it does a good combination of giving you additional filter options, which aren't easy to do, like combining the ands and the ors, having filter groups, relative date filter options, the ability to add multiple different types of random categories kind of in there. So you could add a date field, you can add a categorical like product name field and a few others, and you can have a single kind of pop-up that would let you filter all of them. So essentially a filter panel, which we just don't have today yet natively. And then even just the filter pop-up. So you can have a small little footprint in the corner, you click a button and you get a pop-up onto the screen that lets you select all of those. So essentially like an enhanced filter pane in a lot of ways. So I think all of that works very well. And the fact that this is essentially a pre-provided to the community filter, I think is great. It goes back to the phrase of rising waters raise all ships. So hopefully you'll get plenty of community feedback, and then even thoughts, suggestions, and anything else that will continue to help the product grow.
Absolutely.
Excellent. And for anyone watching again, check out the link below in the YouTube description to be able to go give this a try and download it. It's available directly from the Microsoft App Store as well. And then all the documentation or anything additional for that will be available for this. But Prachi, thank you so much for coming on for this. And I'm looking forward to the next visual that you guys release as well.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, comment, or share this video. Plus, if you have any comments for a future video, go ahead and add that to the comment section down below. Now, if this is your first time to my channel, or you want to see more of these awesome videos, please click that subscribe and notification button. Also, feel free to show your support by becoming a channel member.